honestly, Matt, I issued a target change. I had to walk out of my mom's funeral, dude.
Yeah.
Like straight up, dude. Like, okay, we were having some kind of
Yeah.
deal go on. I had to walk out, call Dylan and be like, look, dude, like this is the way it is. We got to slap it down. Let's go. And that's just life. And, and I do want to touch on this. I have a friend, I'm not going to say his name because he works for a big company, but he had a challenge where he's kind of in a management type position now at this company where kind of like me, where he's got a crew underneath him and they do use consultants, but you've got the geologist kind of running the show, calling shots, making the final call, update,
Right.
whatever. Um, but this is the truth, dude. He wanted to go on vacation. And I was thinking like, okay.
Yeah.
And like sure enough, dude, like I was just, he got out there, they have some trouble, like this, that, this, that, and the third for sure, right? Of course. And so, he's like, I'm on the phone or whatever. And I was just like, buddy, dude, you don't ever get to leave your phone off, bud. Like, I don't care. Like, you can go on vacation, but they better be able to get in touch with you because you can never leave an operations gig. Like
No,
you're
you're
entangled
married.
until that rig is rusting over somewhere.
Unless it's on a rig move, you're married to that job until it's done.
24, dude.
Yeah. And,
So
I missed both of my girls' proms, their first, their dances throughout that whole segment that we were doing. I
yep.
did make graduation, but their senior proms, I missed out on all that stuff.
That's the
Dances,
life in
everything.
this business though. It's
Yeah.
got big returns, but there's sacrifices that have to be made. I'm actually I have particular guests that I'm having coming on that are going to address this, like say women geologists that have kids that they have to take care of, or
Yeah.
like there's it's a big deal, and I just met this new person that really had some insight on it. I'm really excited to talk about that because it does factor in men and women both.
Right.
I see these geosteers. In fact, I had an issue today being able to get one on because of family stuff,
Right.
or because he had to cover for somebody who had family stuff. And these are the men that are, caregiving for their children during the day. So there's some really interesting topics to kind of delve in here with, to get into with that. But,
Yeah.
from our standpoint, this is it's a hard job, but the reward is really good. And at the end of the day, it is nice to have like the kind of financial security and some of the other things that we've been able
For
to
sure.
gain from this business that we work in.
And you sacrifice your time for money. I mean,
Yep.
that's the trade off at the end of the day. They get part of your life, you
Yep.
get a decent wage, and that's the trade off.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that geosteers do that are the absolute worst?